A very good evening to our lecturer, Madam Nurul Husna, and my fellow classmates. So today, Group 5 will be presenting about the impact of orphanage home on the child's personality development. Our group members, Group 5, consists of Chan Min Tong, Celine Chia, Rasmika Sidhu, Rachel Angkamun, and Nur Atika Maulad. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. What we'll be presenting is including introduction about the orphanage center and the objective of the assignment. Second, what influenced their human development. Third, what are the similarities and difference among the perceptions of the participants? What are your views on them? Fourth, what affects the human behavior change? And lastly, what have you learned from the interview? So, ready or not, let's begin. So this is the evidence that we have conducted an interview at Shan's Children's Home at Penang Island. So about the orphanage, Penang Shan's Children's Home is a non-profit, non-governmental organization catering to the needs of orphans, neglected children, dysfunctional families, and single parents. So it's located at Jalan Mount Ice Cream, Tanjung Tokong, Pulau Pinang. So the following objectives have been outlined for the assignment. The first one is to examine the absence of parental guidance and the impact on the orphanage children, to find out positive impact of orphanage home on children's personality development, and lastly, to find out the negative impact of orphanage home on children's personality development. So what influenced their human development? The absence of parents often results in abnormal behavior development of the child because there is no one to supervise him or her in the course of his or her growth. So because of the bereavement, the sadness, the children often experience the feeling of loneliness and fear. This emotion affect the emotion and the psyche of the child, and because they are still inexperienced in terms of handling this kind of matter, the impact that it brings to them that may cause them to develop an abnormal character or personality. Children who grown up in the orphanage home may likely to affect in their cultural tradition and religion are their interests, belief, ambition, ideas, and soon thus affecting the personality development as their behavior is not only more indiscriminate but more immature than those children who are with their natural parent. So some of the children do not have interest in life anymore because of the hardship and the lack of life blessings. So it can be said that the hardship they are facing and the lack of life blessing that they have been encountered are the factors that influence their human development. So one theory that is related to what influence their human development is the social learning theory. The social learning theory suggests that learning occurs because people observe the consequences of other people's behavior. So in this interview, the child orphanage will observe other people's behavior and imitate and soon copy their behavior.
Hi madam and everyone, I'm Nur Atika. So for this part is what are the similarities and differences among the perception of the participants and what are your views on them? So first, majority of the orphans described that the living conditions in the orphanage were good. It was warm, food, we had activities and slept well. However, the worst thing that they experienced was knowing that there was nobody who loves me and is waiting to care for them. There was no sense of belonging. All children in orphanage dream about having parents, though not necessarily biological ones, but ones who make you feel loved. Unfortunately, it is impossible in orphanage. The staff members are able to show attention, hug, and talk, but they cannot replace the love of parents. And during the interview sessions, some of the orphans were asked regarding how they view themselves and other people around them or people in general. Most of the responses appeared to be negative as they perceive other people as terrible, unfair, mean, or scary. Traumatic experience were also one of the found common problems that the research subjects were facing. Some of the respondents lost their parents in accidents. Some of them lost their parents while giving birth to them, while some orphans were able to witness a crime that led to the loss of their loved ones. Results of the analysis show that this problem tends to have a significant relationship with symptoms of behavioral disorders, particularly depression, insomnia, and anxiety. They were also found to be related to social cognitions of people as being unfair and confusing. They also found themselves to be misunderstood.
Hi, a very good evening. My name is Rashmika, and today I'll be presenting about what affects behavior change. So, the death of a parent gives rise to emotional distress. The orphans are susceptible to long term psychological problems, including depression, anger, anxiety, and feelings of sadness, and are also inclined to withdraw and self isolate themselves. These psychological problems are brought about by their failure to deal with their sense of loss. Secondly, the loss of their parents creates a negative psychological impact on their psychosocial well being, resulting in the development of internalizing depressive symptoms. And also, they suffer from emotional distress and prolonged bereavement characterized by a perpetual yearning for the love of a parent. They resort to silence as a coping strategy. Yearning for their parents negatively affected their ability to develop coping strategies, which led to isolation, sadness, hopelessness, lack of peace, and fear of an uncertain future because missing the kin support system. Research indicates that orphan youth face more negative psychosocial challenges than their younger counterparts do. Furthermore, these challenges are intensified for early school leavers. Studies have also shown that the prevalence of emotional and behavioral problems among children and adolescents brought up in institutional homes is higher as compared with similarly aged youngsters brought up by their own families. So, next, I'll be reading a quote. So, lack of love from parents often motivates their children to go searching for love in other relationships. This search is often misguided and leads to further disappointment.
Hi everyone, my name is Rachel. So after conducting the interview, we as a group found out that children who grew up in orphanages and similar institutions experience relationships in a very different way from children who grew up in families. Orphans and the other vulnerable children and adolescents living in orphanage homes are more prone to behavioral and emotional problems than others as they are deprived of a family love and care. Without a parent's figure, stability or a sense of certainty is often a mirage to children who are confined to orphanages. So the first reason is poverty is why they are there. Many of the children are being sent to orphanage because of their family who is facing with financial problems. Therefore, we should aim to remove the threat of poverty from the family and not at removing the child from the family. And family and community-centered approaches should always be explored as alternatives for those children who different reasons cannot stay with their biological parents. The next one would be the lack of stable and consistent love. Infants in orphanages can be deprived of touch, individual attention, and love. This happens not because all orphanages are terrible places, but because there are usually too many babies for the staff to manage. Some orphanages do meet the survival needs of the children. They provide shelter, education, food, and clothing. However, children to thrive need more than this. As the saying goes, the most beautiful things in life aren't visible or tangible. They can only be felt.
Okay, so thank you, Rachel. So I'm going to move to the next one. What are the certain points or issues that caught for my attention? So basically, the first issues, which is the challenge of becoming a parent if you never had one. So few adults in their life as children also means few or no adults role models later in life for children in orphanage. Okay, so for these reasons I can say that becoming a parent can be challenging for children who have lived in the orphanage. Okay, not only because of the absence of adults to learn from, but also because of the genders in staffing. Okay, and some orphanage are females dominated, other males dominated too. So it depends on which categories of the children that they admit. So children who experience these kinds of typical environments are hardly to understand their roles and responsibilities in the wider world. So they often end up feeling ashamed and inadequate and with point accusing fingers to each other. But it is also difficult to expect children and young people who have not been raised in the families to bring out their own families. Okay, so moving on to the next one, which is lack of the meaningful and enriching relationships with a diverse range of people. So children need a very meaningful and enriching their relationship between one another with a diverse range of people. Orphanage hardly provide an opportunity for this. So these interactions with what many the institutionalized children call the wolves outside are limited. So the children will experience more diverse relationships is often seen in the way they rush to strangers who came into their world, exposing the deep-seated relation deprivations or attachment problems that are caused by the lack of stable and consistency of human interactions in the what to say in these children's life. Okay, and lastly, which is children are left feeling objective. Okay, so just as the staff come, okay, come and gets near to the children. Okay, so do visitors and donors. Okay, this constant flow of new adults through their lives reinforce trust and attachment problems. Okay, so by disregarding their social, emotional, and physiological needs in this way, so many children are left feeling objectified lah. So in addition, an open door policy to visitors and has to expose some of these children to abuse, including the sexual abuse. So these are the points and issues that caught for our attention during the interview. So I'm going to pass the times to Celine. Thank you.
We have come to the conclusion. Based on the interview findings, we have made several recommendations. The first recommendations is that parents should show love and care towards children as well as strictly monitor their activities. The second recommendation is that orphanage homes should be provided with the necessary resources, may it be financial, material, human, so as to positively impact the lives of children, orphans in orphanage should be nurtured towards the development of positive attributes in a bid to ensure a balanced personality. So we can conclude that for human beings to strive and develop a sense of belonging and identity, they need relationship. And not just any relationship, but positive and stable relationship. These relationships are often enhanced at the level of the family unit. Young children need reciprocal give and take interactions with an adult human to ensure their brain development, behavioral development, personality growth, cognitive development, social emotional development, and even their physical growth. So it can be concluded that every child needs a consistent caregiving adult. It is from this one person that they learn to trust and navigate all other relationships in life. That's all from us from Group 5. Thank you very much.